So we're going to kick off tonight by talking about setting up a blended learning classroom. And why is this important? Why would this be one of those critical areas? It's because that's the way kids learn today. It's the way they're learning in school. It's the way that we as adults learn. How many of you have watched a video on YouTube to learn how to do something? I've repaired dishwashers and parts of my car, all sorts of things, simply by going online and finding a video. And we know that that's going to be one of the easiest ways to engage your young learners in your classroom. So, we're going to share with you a couple of strategies, a couple of tips for setting up a blended learning classroom from fairly complex to fairly simple. So, let's get that started. I'm going to share a diagram with you, and we're going to look at 4 different blended classroom models. And this should help you in getting ideas about how you might be able to integrate technology in your classroom. So let's start with the first one. We're going to call this option 1, the smart TV. So we've tried to cover all the scenarios, but just listen and think about your classroom setting and which one of these might be better suited for you. So the first one is using a smart TV. Smart TVs are called smart TVs because they have web browsers built in. So you do not need an additional computer. Basically, if you can take a look at the chart, the top left says you need a Wi-Fi signal or hardwired internet, and then that plugs directly into the smart TV. And then all you have to do is open the browser and access the digital resources that you'll use during your instruction. So that's pretty simple. And I did want to mention that smart TVs typically have speakers built in, so you won't have to worry about sound, because what good is a video without audio? So you do want to just connect that with a cable, and you are good to go. And then you can stand there in your silhouette with your teaching wand and engage in your instruction. So that's the first option, the smart TV option. Let's move to the second option. This is option 2, flat screen. So maybe you have a flat screen TV in your classroom. So here's what you'll need there. You'll need a couple of additional pieces of hardware. You're going to use, again, either your Wi-Fi or your hardwired internet signal. And you're going to plug that into your device. Now that could be, you're going to connect it to either your smartphone, it could be your laptop computer, it could be a desktop computer, whatever device is in, or a tablet, whatever is in your classroom. And then you'll need to connect that with a wire, usually, not always, into the flat screen TV. Some of the flat screen TVs will have speakers, or you may need to add speakers. So don't forget about the speakers. And then from your device, you'll access the internet and show the resources that you want to show for your instruction. And again, you can use your teaching wand to orchestrate all of the activity that's happening there. So it's not too complex. I've been doing that for quite a while, plugging directly into my phone or a laptop into that flat screen TV, and it works like a charm. The nice thing about using the smart TV is that you have mobility around the room, whereas if you're using the flat screen option, you're sort of wired to the TV, so you'll need to be close to it. Not a big deal. All right, let's move to that third option. Now, if you have questions as we're going along, do put those in the chat box and put a Q next to your question so that we can find it. All right, so we have the third option. This is a projector. Many of us still have projector in the classroom, or you have a cart and you can come and use your projector. So let's take a look at that. Again, you'll need your Wi-Fi or hardwired internet into your device. And you can see now you're going to connect your device to the projector. The projector then will project the image onto a screen or a wall. So that's pretty simple to use. And it's the same basic thing, but again, don't forget those speakers, because it's really hard to hear from your phone speakers or your device speakers. So make sure you have a nice pair of speakers to go. So that's the projector option. And then we go finally to personal devices. If the classroom is not equipped with any of this technology, then perhaps you're bringing your own device and you share images from your laptop or your iPad or even your smartphone. So you'll need to connect that to either the Wi-Fi or use your own phone access. And then it's very simple to access the website and show those resources. So those are 4 different ways that you can set up a blended classroom for learning. And I did want to mention the other option that I haven't shown here would be, with an interactive whiteboard. And that would be very similar to a smart TV. So if you have an interactive whiteboard, it's a more sophisticated smart TV. Those are typically in academic, school classrooms where there's a school there, and that would function exactly the same as a smart TV. So hopefully that helps you. And Deacon Matt, I'd like to invite you back in to see what questions you might have about any of these blended learning options.
I just want to thank you. That was a great presentation of the different ways that we can blend a program. I think it really just invites our viewers to think more critically about what kind of technological infrastructure they have. We don't think a lot about that sometimes as DREs, about sometimes maybe we shy away from technology and digital stuff altogether, and that might be the case. But to think about how can I incorporate it in a way that makes sense. Maybe you already have a program, but then you got a new TV or you got a new, some sort of device that allows you to do some more things to kind of amplify your lesson digitally. And then you're kind of like, well, how do I make the program work with this new device? I think if sometimes it's either you got the program and then you got the piece of technology later, or you've got the technology and you're looking for a program that might use that technology the best. So I think you're offering four great ways to do that.
Yeah, thank you. I think along the lines of what you're saying, sometimes we don't understand fully how to use technology, like even connect it. And so it becomes too big. It's too cumbersome to think about. The hopes that I had in putting the diagrams together was that it becomes a little more palatable. When you can visualize that, you can see like, oh, this really isn't different than watching TV at home. If you have a smart TV, you connect it to your internet source, and then you select your channels of what you're going to watch. And that's basically what you're doing in a classroom. I guess the main difference is we're not watching movies as much as we're accessing the internet and maybe showing video clips. So it's very similar to what we've all experienced at home for quite some time. Yeah. And also we do think that this topic on the blended classrooms is very similar to episode 11 that we did on tools for digital catechesis. And so that has also been shared to you in the chat box. So check out the link on catechiststream.com and then go to episode 11 or even episode 24, where we talked about the textbook taboo. And technology is being, Deacon Matt, one of those options that we presented for going beyond the textbook.
Lots of videos to look at.
Oh, there's a lot of video content for you there now. So it doesn't have to be difficult. Consider blended learning as one of your options for the new school year. And make sure that if you're the catechetical leader, that you've got the equipment in place and that you help the catechist to learn how to make connections and access the browser from the various devices. As long as that you take a few minutes to show them how to do that, they'll be able to go into the classroom and use these resources. We haven't talked about specific resources to use yet, and we're probably not going to get too much into that tonight. That would be the next logical question. Well, what can I use? I think if you go back to those 2 previous episodes, you'll get some ideas there. Now, if you're a catechist looking at this and thinking, I'd love to do that, and your catechetical leader hasn't really mentioned anything about using digital resources, then it's up to you to raise the question. Hey, how can I show a video? Do we have any of this? Do we have a blended learning classroom set up so that I can show some of these resources and use some of these resources during my instruction?